Good evening, Durham community. Thank you for joining us for our Facebook Live session as we count down to kindergarten enrollment. Tonight we'll be discussing a day in the life of a kindergartner. My name is Kathleen James, and I work as the K-2 Literacy Facilitator with the Curriculum and Instruction Department. And my lovely co-host this evening, I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Latoya McCrimmon, and I am the Transition to Kindergarten Facilitator for Durham Public Schools. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope you learn a lot.
Thanks, Latoya. So tonight we're going to talk about what a day in the life of a kindergartner would be. Really, the big ideas that we'll be exploring are different instructional blocks and what you'll learn, what your student will expect as they go through their day. And so we're really going to be talking about the school environment and the academics in kindergarten this evening. So this may be the first time that your student is arriving in school, or maybe they're transitioning from pre-K. But when we think about kindergarten readiness, we're thinking about 5 big areas of readiness. Your students' language and literacy skills, their cognitive approaches towards learning. How are they thinking about problem solving? How are they approaching a task? We're also thinking about their mathematical foundations, their understanding of quantities. We also know that it's important to think about physical well-being and motor development, as well as social and emotional development. And we'll see how all of these areas of school readiness play out throughout the kindergarten day. So in kindergarten, we usually start the day with something called morning meeting. And this is really a meeting to kick off the day focused on building classroom community. And the teacher will lead the class through different activities to strengthen connections, increase your child's confidence, promote social awareness, thinking about how to support problem solving, and also encouraging positive peer interactions. So we're really thinking about the social emotional development and starting off our day with that intention. We'll then move through our literacy block. And our literacy block in kindergarten is really comprised of these 5 big areas. So we're going to start really thinking about the foundational skills of reading, thinking about phonological awareness, helping your students hear and manipulate and isolate the sounds in words. Then connecting those sounds to letters and to letter patterns, understanding and building their concepts of phonics so that we are increasing their ability to decode those words and read them off the page. We also know how important it is to develop that love of reading and build background knowledge and vocabulary. And that's where our shared reading piece of our literacy block comes in. So this is going to be a really engaging read aloud with lots of discussion where students are talking with each other, they're answering the teacher's questions, they're responding in writing. But it's this grounding in a text that we're analyzing closely and discussing. We also know that every child is different, and our small group instruction during our literacy block is a way to differentiate for student needs. So during this time, your child will work in a small group with the teacher, and the rest of the students will be at centers and they'll be rotating. So each student will have access to that small group instruction to really target the skills that they need. And then another component of our literacy block is our writer's workshop. We're developing those foundational skills of writing, but also helping guide students in thinking about their writing and seeing that as a mode of communication, creating narratives, writing opinion pieces, and writing informational text. Our schools use the HMH Interreading curriculum or the American Reading Company curriculum. So depending on your school, you'll see all 5 of these elements at play within those curriculums. This is just an overview of some of the really big standards that we will hit in kindergarten literacy. And we really think about literacy as reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So those elements are going to be at play in whatever activity we're doing during that literacy block. When we're thinking about our reading foundational skills, that's where we're thinking about understanding features of print, being able to print and recognize the letters, understanding spoken words, syllables, and sounds when I mentioned that phonological awareness, and then using the grade level phonics to actually decode and read those words. We also think about that shared reading experience and comprehending what we're reading. And so our big key standards around our literature, text would be recalling key details and retelling familiar stories, identifying those story elements, characters, problem, solution, beginning, middle, and end, connecting words to pictures, and recognizing different types of texts. And you'll see that those are also connected to our informational text that we'll explore. So we'll be working on identifying the main idea and connecting people and events, identifying different parts of the book, and comparing and contrasting text. And as I mentioned before, we have these three big types of writing that students are going to be exposed to and will have practice creating themselves: opinion pieces, informative text, and narratives. We'll then move to our math block. And our math block is also broken up into kind of five big areas. The first being fluency practice. And this is where students are really trying to build their automaticity through counting by identifying their facts. Then as a class, we'll move through the application problem. And this is where students have a chance to share their problem solving skills as they dig deep into a word problem. Then we'll move into our concept development. And this is where we will do that explicit teaching of our new learning. Students then have the opportunity to practice that by themselves and with guided support from the teacher in their problem set. So they're moving through those problems to practice the new learning that we had in our concept development. And then finally, at the end of our math block, we'll come together and debrief to discuss what we learned and any takeaways from the problems that we solved today. And some of the key standards that we'll be working on in kindergarten math: knowing number names in our counting sequences, being able to write those numbers, counting the numbers of objects, comparing quantities and numbers, thinking about solving those addition and subtraction word problems, composing and decomposing numbers, and again, building that fluency with addition and subtraction to 5. And then we'll also look at comparing measurable attributes and comparing, creating, and composing shapes and classifying objects. Science and social studies are also a key part of the instructional day. This is where your student is really strengthening their inquiry. They're observing, they're analyzing, they're trying to draw conclusions from the world around them. And in these blocks, we have a lot of hands-on learning experiences that are relevant to the student and their space. And we'll also be really intentional about integrating this content in our literacy and our math blocks as well. So the big areas of focus in kindergarten science would be physical properties, positions and movement, weather and patterns, and living and non-living. And in social studies, students are learning about the characteristics of citizens. They're looking at change over time and comparing and contrasting different cultures, parts of our economy, thinking about wants and needs. And then finally, the interaction between humans and their environment. The day is not yet over though, because we also have specials areas. So these are those classes like PE, art, music, drama, enrichment, media, technology, guidance. And so depending on your school, your student will have access to these special areas to really enrich their day. This is just a sample schedule of what your child's day may look like. So they'll come into the building, they'll grab their breakfast, usually do some sort of morning work or getting to know their classmates, and then we'll move into that morning meeting piece. And again, that's really to foster that social emotional learning. Then they might move into a literacy block where we're hitting all of those 5 big components, thinking about our whole group instruction with our read aloud and our shared reading and our phonics and our phonological awareness and writer's workshop, but also knowing that this does include our small group time where we're really differentiating instruction for your child. And then your student will have lunch and recess and special areas. Then we'll have that math block. Then your student might have snack towards the end of the day. Our kindergartners tend to eat pretty early in the day. And then we'll wrap up the day with that science and social studies and an end of day meeting just to reflect on how the day went and share any new learning. And I will add that before and after school programming is available at schools as well. So you might be thinking, well, how can I start connecting with my child's school? You can start by reading with your child every night and communicating with your child's teacher once the school year starts. You can also think about getting involved in the larger school community by attending school meetings and events, joining the PTA and family academy meetings, and also talking with your child's teacher about how you can share your talents and skills. Maybe you are an amazing gardener and you would like to donate your time to support the school or your child's class with a gardening project. So really connect with your child's teacher and share your passion, share your skills. And then also just remember to make learning fun. Some other skills that we want to think about in preparing for kindergarten and getting students ready now are some self-help skills. So helping your child with waiting, taking turns, managing their personal care and personal materials, thinking about meal skills. Your child is going to be drinking milk or juice at school, practicing opening up those cartons. Also think about transitioning, right? And helping your child get adjusted to transitioning from different routines and locations, and encouraging your child to express their wants and their needs. Any opportunity to interact with adults and peers is a good. And if you would like to learn more, please visit dpsnc.net. You can find more information about kindergarten enrollment, more information about our curriculum, and you can also join us for some other upcoming Facebook live events. So on Tuesday, March 8th, we'll have a Q&A session with a kindergarten teacher. And on Tuesday, March 22nd, we will have a session around child nutrition and transportation.
Thank you so much for sharing all that wonderful information with us, Miss Kathleen. It was so awesome. And I think you did such a wonderful job that we don't have any questions in the chat at this time. I'll talk a little bit more to give people a chance to type if they have a question. But if you want to know anything further about your schools, please contact your school, your base school, the school in your area that your child will be going to. I know a lot of schools are offering tours at this time. And there's plenty of information out there that the schools are willing to share with you if you just give them a call. Miss Kathleen, we do have a question. When can I register my child? Registration has begun. You can go online right now and register your child for Durham Public Schools. Miss Kathleen gave you the address, dpsnc.net. Up at the top, there's a button that says enrollment. You click on that button, and then you click on kindergarten information, and everything that you need is there. It tells you the documents that you need and all the information that you will need to upload, and you can create your account and go there and do everything that you need to do. Do schools provide breakfast for all students? This year, yes, schools are providing breakfast for all students, but we don't know what that's going to look like next year. But the application for lunch is also on the registration website. You can go there and find information about the lunch, about breakfast and lunch there on the dpsnc.net.
And I see we have another question in reference to using the Letterland curriculum.
Yes.
So yes, Letterland is used as a secondary resource. It's not our main curriculum, but it is used to differentiate those student needs as we talked about before. But both of our literacy curriculums have foundational skills, those phonics and phonological awareness built into the program, which is great.
Yes, yes, good question. That was so awesome. Lots of good questions. Is there anything else anyone needs to know? All the information that you need can definitely be found on the dpsnc.net website. Go there. If you have any questions or concerns, call your base school. They have the information that you need. There is a cost for breakfast and for lunch, and again, that should be on the website. It gives you information about how much breakfast costs and how much lunch costs at the school. I do know that lunch was $2.85. I know reduced lunch is 40 cents. I think regular reduced breakfast is 40 cents. Regular breakfast is the regular price is 170, I think. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but you can find it on the website. I promise you. You can find it on the website. And we want to say thank you to everybody and thank you for your wonderful questions. Thank you for your participation tonight. And again, if you need anything further, please contact your base school. And I am Latoya McCrimmon, your transition to kindergarten facilitator, and your wonderful host with Ms. Kathleen Jane, and she is with curriculum and instruction.
Thank you all.